Are we live? Can't see myself. I can't see myself. Let's see. And that's okay. We can figure it out later. So, hello, folks. Today we're going to talk about these three book summaries of how to talk to anyone. I'm just going to share that with you while we go through it. Hopefully, you can see that. And while I go through it, I can even edit the stuff. So, the three book summaries were from Lil Lowndes, Larry King, and someone in Toastmasters or a group of people, different people giving advice in Toastmasters. Uh, does that change your view? Yeah, that doesn't look nice. Let's go back to the normal view. And let's get down to business. So, first thing is, this was back in 2007 to 9 when I was really into self development. I'm still into it, but this was the time when I would be on the bus for 2 3 hours going and coming, or just constantly taking notes, book summaries, carrying dictionaries with me. And yep, so this is a summary of that. And the first one we're going to go through is Lil Lowndes' book on how to talk to anyone. Now, I think I read the 92 Little Secrets, but I couldn't find that book, so I found the 62 Secrets. Don't know where the 30 went, but let's get to the first few points. First one is smile slower. So start with a grin. Um, you'll notice you do this when you really see someone, or those reactions where the dad surprises the child coming back from the army or something, and they're like, oh, I'm happy, and then it just gets bigger, or like the joy gets bigger and bigger. So instead of just, hey, how are you? Dave Chappelle, his comedy bit one fake person being like, hey, how are you? And you're like, oh, me too, how are you? So you're slowly warming up, which shows more authenticity. Use sticky eyes. I think that has a STICKY eyes. Less on men, more on women. Even when looking away, do it slowly, like it's hard to pull them off. So my cousin used to do that a lot when you're talking to someone and you can't keep your eyes off someone, and then you're just like, yes, okay. Mm, okay. So you're letting them know. And I think the next one is pretty much the same. Use epoxy eyes. Uh, take usually three people to pull it off while talking to someone. Look at the target. Also wait for the person you're talking to finish their sentence. Talking to finish their sentence. So both target and conversation person both get your attention. Used by lovers, cops, managers. Lovers, cops. Yeah, cops would do that. They're paying attention to one thing, but they've got their eyes going around, sticking to things. Next one is hang by your teeth. More like pretending like you're swinging in the room. Okay, so this has to do with posture. You don't walk like that, but you basically, the one I learned was, imagine a hanger is pulling you. So how would you be if the hanger is pulling you? Use that, makes you look like a winner. I better sit like that now. Um, hang by your teeth, yes. Welcome and greet people like a big baby, like getting in touch with an inner infant. Um, I've noticed older ladies do this so much more better than anyone else, because they'll be like, "Hi, how are you? Are you okay?" Lots of caring, lots of um, well-being, taking care of, trying to take care of someone. When seeing someone, treat them like a long-lost dear old friend. Excuse my language. Uh, excuse my pronunciation. Friend. It starts a chain reaction in your body. Hey, how are you doing? It's been so long. I'm so happy you're here. stuff like that. Visualize you're in peak form and gonna wow everyone. I typed this so long ago that I was using a lot of slang or not proper English. So people, before they go to public speaking events and stuff, they'll visualize the applause, they'll visualize the delivery they're going to give, stuff like that. So you can visualize that. Mm, when making small talk, match the moods, tune in their mood and match the pace. So a lot of times you'll be chill, this and that, and then someone very happy, excited, hey, yo, what's up, how you guys going? Or it's a lot of happy people doing things and you're like, hey, how's things? So that kind of clashes the mood. Talk Prozac with passion. It's not the way you say, it's how you say. It's not the way you say it, it's how you say it. Let's just find out what this Prozac word means so we can break it down. Consisting and characteristic of prose. Matter of fact, straightforward, lacking in imagination. Huh? So dull. I don't get that. Talk Prozac with passion. So talk in a dull way with passion. Basically, when you're talking, just think of all the guys who've captivated you. They talk to you, they use hand movements, they'll take you in a story, they'll go up and down in tones and stuff like that. Always wear a what's it. I always have what's its before I even knew what the word what's it was. I used to have like dog chains, I used to have bracelets, bicycle chain, car battery terminals. That was back in the day. Now I have like strange badges or just a small little thing. Like I have this Batman pin I've been meaning to wear more. Just something that starts a conversation because I love someone giving you something to say, oh, that's interesting. And then you ping back. I really love a good ping. So you'll be like, hey, I really like that tie. And then you're like, it took me this long to find this tie, da da da. Like, oh, I see you have an interest in looking for specific fashions or different kinds of conversation. So always wear a what's it, anything that starts a conversation, like, what is that? Simple visual prop that is unusual. And a lot of pickup artists use this and they call it peacocking. They'll wear these boas and hats and all that kind of stuff. Visual simple prop that is unusual, which matches your personality and occasion. Yeah, so make sure it's appropriate for the occasion. It's not like you're trying too hard. Who's it? Ask your friend to make an intro or little info about the person. Example, hey, you're James, right? Josie just told me that you're into jonesing. Look, those times I didn't know. I would just fill filler words. You're into such and such. Let's change it to that. Let's save it before we lose any progress. So some other things I try to pick on is when I pick a conversation, I'll be like, hey, I saw you talking with, especially at work situation, I saw you talking with Bev. Um, are you in HR? How do you guys know each other? Stuff like that. Especially when, say, my partner's goes to her Christmas dues, be like, oh, how do you know each other? Who's working together? What are your plans for Christmas? Because it's usually before Christmas break. Eavesdrop and wait for any excuse to, excuse me, I couldn't help overhearing. Yeah, I'm trying to think of situations where I've done that. Oh, yes. Most recently, one of my colleagues was working with Copilot, which is the AI which we use. And I was like, yeah, I've been using it. I can't figure out the tokens yet because one day I have a thread of messages. I can go back to my history. Suddenly it's disappeared. So just pick and choose the things you're going to talk about. or open with. That's what they call it, opening. Where are you from? Should be answered with something interesting. Never one word answers. Oh, I don't think I do that. I just say Kenya. Oh no, actually I do. I do say, do you know Lion King? Hakuna Matata. That's the Swahili. That's what we speak there. Extra info could even match the person's identity or interest. So if you know what they're into, you've scoped the area, you've seen what everyone's like and stuff, so you can choose your ping, which ping you want to go with. Don't just say your title, throw out some interesting facts for them to munch on. Yeah, I think I overshare sometimes because I'll be like, uh, if someone asks me what I do, I'll be like, I do so many things, man. I've taught meditation in prisons. I've done filming in Kenya. I've done uh, spiritual retreats and teaching meditation or graphic design and all sorts, all sorts. See, I'm doing it now. Introduce people. Let's change that. Introduce people with more than name. Describe the interest or interesting story about them so they have something to start with. And one of my friends was very good with this. He'll be like, he will really sell whoever he's introducing bec- because basically what you're also doing is showing your social proof that you have these connections who are so interesting, so well connected, or in different things. So it's always good to, if not oversell, just sell them more than you just say name and this is what they do. Be a word detective. Listen to their words to pick up something that they'd be into and take it from there. So another thing I learned about was called trance words. And you'll notice a lot of people say we have five senses. I think a lot because I'm very mind and I'm very visual also. So I'll be like, I think I see that. Mm, some people are, I feel like this, I feel like that. Um, so know what the trance words are. A lot of people will use repeating words. I use energy a lot. Um, art, music, creativity, stuff like that. I like those words. So if someone was to pick on me, they'll be like, "Yeah, okay, so you're into art, you're into spiritual stuff, things like that." Uh, Truly confident people know how to turn the spotlight from them to someone else. The more you do it, the more interesting they find you. This is so important. We live in a world where we have very few listeners. We have a lot of people who like to talk about themselves, sure about themselves. So why not put the spotlight on them and give them give them a boost in selling themselves also at the same time. Repeat other people's words, parrot the last few words they say, and they'll love it. So it's like, I think it's also when I have a post somewhere in my blog about repeating what the other person says when you're trying to find common ground. It might be in my negotiations and conflict resolution one, or arguing or finding difficult conversations where you're trying to find the same common ground. So you're jumping on the same, basically the baton. You're going on a relay, you're catching the baton, you're running with it. Uh, yeah, I just finished Netflix. Oh, you just finished Netflix? Nobody's ever going to finish Netflix. Feel like something's in there. Encore. Do you want more? Good for slipping away from conversations. Just make one of the people repeat a great story about themselves. Now, slipping away from conversations, I think there might be more ahead, but I'll tell you now. I love slipping away from boring conversations, and I'm so good at it. So I'll be like, hey, by the way, you have to tell them this story, this and that. And I look, my partner loves telling stories. I know people who love sharing this. Once you know what people like to share, you can just share that, and you can be like, okay, I'll just be back. I just seen someone, or I'm gonna get a drink. I'll catch you guys later. Whatever. If you need to check out, if you need to check out of a bad situation, don't use this technique too much. But it's a very good way to introduce someone and make your exit because like they said, you don't want to take the spotlight too much. So shine the spotlight and get away, or just fade in the background, stay in the circle if you need to. When first meeting someone, stick to the positive, keep the skeletons for later. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Um, I don't always do this because I've reached a point in my life where I don't want to meet too many new people now. So I'll quickly go into the meat of conversation, the things I want to talk about or I'm interested in. I don't want to keep it like simple, the usual weather's okay, traffic and blah blah blah. I'll be like, on this weekend, I felt some things which I want to talk about. On this week, I experienced things. Have you felt like that? What happened? So maybe not all the skeletons, but I prefer to go deeper than just keeping it positive bit. Because look, it might be here, it might be in some other talks. Some guys say break rapport. So once you've built the rapport, break rapport at some point, so people know that as much as you guys get along, you also have your own opinions, your own values that you want people to know about at the same time. Like, you need to know that. Thesaurus, your vocab, replace boring words. I love the thesaurus, but recently also depends what you're doing. If you're talking about really complicated things, then you want to dumb it down. But if you're uh, explaining a story and stuff, and you know they're going to understand your the vocab, then you can push it. So again, I don't agree in all these things, so I'll break rapport on some of them. Visual phrases and related similes. My dad was very good with these. There's one everyone still loves. They'll always remind me. They'll be like, your dad. He used to say when my workmate wanted to send their person to drop something over or pick something, he'll be like, send your helicopter. So just funny replacement words or phrases which people will remember you with. Always say unique thank yous. Never thank you alone. I think I do. Thank you so much. You're a star. Much appreciated. Much appreciated is in the emails because I prefer keeping some things professional. But thank you. You're a star. I owe you chocolate. That's the one I like using. I owe you chocolate because I always have chocolate. Gobbledygook, learn their job lingo. This is very important. Especially you'll see like stand-up comics before they go onto the stage. If they're in a different city, if they're doing it for a corporate event, they'll find out what people are doing and stuff. So when the jokes hit, it's going to hit the people because he's done his homework. He knows what he's talking about. Mirror their movements, echo their words. Now, this one, you'll notice, even if you don't do that and you really start getting along with someone, you'll notice yourself doing it anyway. There's a lot of, I did this body language course where I noticed this. When you like someone, your one foot will face towards them or you'll be closer to them. You'll be like this, and they'll be like, yeah, that's interesting. And they'll do it together. Create shared experiences and private joke. I knew someone who was so good with this, created like adventures with every person they met. Just simple things, like whether it's finding parking or this and that, you just make up a story between you two, and now that's your thing. And then every time you meet each other or see each other, you build up on that joke. Compliment someone through a friend. Oh, this is a good one. This is such a good way to get in someone's good books. And I don't intentionally do it to for the person to find out, but I will tell other people about how awesome someone was. There was someone recently at work. I just loved the way they took charge. They just came in hard, and they're like, look, let's start looking for solutions. I'm new, so I want to know your process. I know my process, so we can figure out what we need to get done and stuff like that. Compliment someone indirectly. You're probably too young to remember. Yeah, like, oh, is this your sister? The usual one when you meet the mother. Save one killer compliment per blue moon. Compliment them on time. Return compliment. Example, I'm so glad you told me. So, complimenting on time is when I was working in the fuel stations, I would make sure if first of all, I'll make sure I look out for people doing good things. And as soon as they're free to receive the compliment, I'll be like, listen, I saw you do that. I really appreciate it. You know what? I want you to lead. So I would also use it to tell them that, look, you can use that to lead someone. So when I have a new person getting trained, can you help them with that because you're so good at it? Return their compliment. The one I like using is, how they say beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So when someone says that you did this great, and I'm just like, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but I change the word beauty depending on whatever the situation was. Like, oh, that was very smart, and I'm like, smart is in the eye of the beholder. You are smart enough to see that that was a smart thing, I- in a way. As for saving that killer compliment, I think I'll put that at the end so it doesn't mix up the timelines. Let's go, let's go. Where did it go? Let's go. What am I doing? Do it there. Okay, so save one compliment per. Um, I do this in ways where, especially if it's like birthdays and stuff, I'll be like, on a birthday, I'll have those killer compliments to give them. I'll be like, happy birthday, man. This thing I learned from you has helped me so much. You're just so awesome, or just never stop being the happy, lively person that you are, or stuff like that. Sound more exciting on the phone, make them hear your emotions. So when I was working in one of the places, one lady, this cranky woman, she did make a good point though. She blasted me in front of everyone after I put the phone down. She's like, can you smile when you're talking on the phone? And that made a lot of sense because when you're smiling, you're already happy. You're happy to talk to people, or it goes through. So use that technique. Smile, hello. Shower them with their name even more on the phone. Yes, yes. Saying people's names. There was somewhere else heard, do it at least a minimum of 3 times talking to someone. Answer unemotionally. So that's contradicting to the previous sentence. Oh, okay. Answer unemotionally, then throw in excitement after you know who it is. Hello, Bar speaking. Oh, hey, how are you doing, Sam? It's long time no see. Are you okay? La 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 la. Always ask about your timing. I always do. Even before I call, sometimes I'll send a message because I hate the phone. Recently, I've gotten used to talking on the phone. I'll be like, hey, are you okay for a phone call now, or is it a good time to talk? Pay attention to their background noises and acknowledge it. A lot of people I talk to, they are so sharp. They'll hear my boy screaming and stuff, and they're like, "Are you okay? Is this not a good time, or do you need to attend that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, no, no, all is well. Carry on, carry on. I hear you on the other line. Do you need to get it?" So yeah, just show some awareness. Rescue someone's story. Example, after interruption. So what happened? Oh my gosh, we have one dinner guest. Once they take over the story, it's so hard. Like I'll be asking one person, a question, and they'll be like, no, no, I'll answer everything for them, and I'll take over the story. I'll bring in all my amazing memories about things. And I'm like, so back to you. How is your wrestling going? Are you still, you're the one doing wrestling, right? Don't forget where you left off. Put a pin in it and then go back to the bookmark. Divulge the WIIFM. What is in it for me, for them, and for you? Divulge. What is in it? Let's find out what this means so I can break it down. Should I ask ChatGPT? Chat. No, actually, let's do it the easier way and use Leo, which is Brave's AI. Indicate, publicly, proclaim, communicate. So communicate what is in it for them and for you. Yeah, so I get it. If you are in a win-win situation, you would say, this is what you would get, this is what I would get. So we both win-win. This is what's in it for you, this is what's in it for me. Are you ready to do this deal? Stuff like that. Parties are for fun. Leave tough talk for tougher settings. Yes, absolutely. Parties are for fun. Parties do not need, you know what they say, religion. What's the other one? Politics. I try to keep news out of it also. So much more better things to talk about. Parties are for fun. Okay. Chance encounters are for chit chat. Keep it sweet and light. When you bump into someone at a cafe, on the road, in the bus, whatever. Hey, how you? This thing is oh so self-explanatory. I don't need to get too much into it. So now the next one is how to talk to anyone, anytime, anywhere. The Secrets of Good Communication by Larry King. I don't know what Bill Gilbert did, but let's see what he's saying. Actually, let me see if there's anyone in the chats. Anybody in the chats? Nobody in the chats. That is sad, but it's okay. How to talk to anyone, everyone is an expert in their own interests. So interests, listen to their speciality. I love this. I love getting to know people's unique interests. Like I said, I like getting to the meat of things. So what did you do over the weekend? What are you into? I look for those trans words, those buzzwords, and I'll be like, you mentioned composting. How do you do hot compost? Do you do cold compost? What do you do? Da, da, da. So I just love getting to know people's expertise. So much better than just, hey, how much. Anyway, I wouldn't get into that one. Escape let's fix this. Conversations by excusing yourself for the washroom or intro them to a friend with, I'm sure you have a lot to talk about. But you don't use the second one too much. Yeah, so like we talked about earlier, uh, go to the washroom. One thing I do all the time is if I feel like it's someone who's going to just keep talking at me instead of talking to me, having a ping and stuff, I know they're not going to care if I just quickly, while I look at them, I'll be like, oh, yeah, yeah, oh, okay, okay. And then set my timer for 5 minutes. And then when it rings, I'll be like, oh, I need to take this. Nice talking to you, or I'll be back, or whatever. Sometimes it's hard. There's one person every now and then it's very hard to talk to because even when I'm on the phone, when I've taken the phone and it's a proper phone call, they'll still be like, oh, yeah, 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 yeah. I wouldn't say who it is because they might be watching this. Bring up a topic of your interest and see if there is a good follow up to gauge where it's going. So cast the net. Cast the net of your subject. See if anyone biting. If no one's biting, cast another net of different subjects. Someone's biting. A lot of the times, because I'm into gardening, spirituality, I'm not into sports, racing, uh, mowing the lawn. So those kind of things, with the guys, it's hard to connect with. But then we'll talk about whatever the current status of men's things are, which is always a good one because a lot of guys don't have a sounding board. They don't get to talk too much to people about what they're feeling. So I like to go into that direction. When using technical terms, make sure the people you talk to know what you're saying. If not, use layman terms. I've already talked about it earlier. I like to keep it simple depending on the situation. For sales, after closing, don't sell any more. Once you've closed, deal's done. Don't try to, they've given you a hand, don't take the whole arm. Sell your advantages, and when discussing stuff, try not to use negative words or meanings. Find a different way to say it so it sounds more appealing. Sell your advantages when discussing stuff. Yeah, I see what they mean. Even like, in your interviews, describe your weaknesses. And you don't just say, I'm very bossy. Just say, I like to use, especially for interviews, I'll be like, my weakness and my strength, they're usually complementary. So the same thing that is my strength is also my weakness. I can be persistent, but at the same time, it can be a problem to people if I keep at it. So take that information how you want. Speak clearly, look at everyone, make short notes to stay on track so you're not just reading and looking at audience. So you're not just reading. I'm going to break that so it makes more sense. Look at the audience in different places each time. And when you're talking, you give attention to different sides, the center, up, down, everywhere. And while you're talking, if you're afraid to look at anyone dead in the eye, just look above them, look at their seat. Look at the seat above, look at the blank space between them, because nobody knows that you're not looking at a specific person. Du-du-du-du. Know when to leave. Yep. Don't use lewd language. I prefer not to use abusive language unless I really want to express something and I know my audience then also. So keep it simple as don't be afraid to say you don't remember. Find ways to avoid questions you don't like. No comment does not work anymore. It implies guilt. Okay, so I guess this is in a more interrogatory situation. Don't be afraid to say you don't remember. Yeah, why would you be afraid? Find ways to avoid questions you don't like. Hmm. There are some people on YouTube I've seen how there was one, Charlemagne, the donkey of the day, is some radio dude, loser, and he always pushes people to a point where he's just trying to get reactions instead of be a good interviewer. And there was one where he was interviewing Post Malone. It was such an embarrassing one. Post Malone handled it really well, really well. Alrighty, next one is Toastmaster Secrets, a practical guide. So even though it's from Ramakrishna Reddy, I'm sure it's going to have a lot of points either covered already or by different Toastmasters. Determine audience wants. Determine audience wants, needs, and expectations. Yes, know your audience. Audience wants you to succeed. This is such an important one. They they will feel you're uncomfortable or they'll try and complete your sentences for you while you're doing it. And as many times as I've done elocutions or speeches and poetry, I've stuttered and It's always good to have something, but remember your audience is not your enemy. They're your friends. You have to talk to them like your friends because they want to help you. Be like, and if you show your vulnerability, they will help you. They'll be understanding about it. Make it a conversation. Okay, so this is a lot more on the public speaking side of things. Audience want you to succeed. Keep it short. Write it. So flashcards, keep little notes like the notes I'm going through right now. You can just make bullet points like that. Keep it short, write it, and count the words. I don't count the words. Practice the timing. Yeah, so if you're going to do a speech which is timed, like a TED talk or something, they have a clock. Usually, TED talk guys have it on the ground, and then they'll know when it's going. Uh, Toastmasters have, I think it's a orange and red light. So orange tells you you have 1 minute left. Red is finished, something like that. Comedians also, when they're doing their 20-minute sets or something, someone at the back will switch on a light or they'll have some kind of signs. So know your pace, get used to it, keep practicing. Make a point, tell a story. We all share happiness together. Sadness, happiness, sadness, anger, surprise, disgust, fear. Use in story according. How do I word that? Make a point, tell a story. Use these in your story accordingly. Yeah, that sounds better. Use presentation slides as summaries and don't turn your back on the audience. So, I recently finished one of my modules for business leadership and it finally made sense. Your slides need to have at least or just like 3 bullet points and a picture. So you know what the picture is worth 1,000 words. So that's already going to tell you say a lot and diagrams or things that already shows people. So while you're talking, it's easy for them to digest that. And the 3 bullet points, so they're not reading your whole thesis while you're talking because it's two things going on. So have your points. So when you look, you've looked at your point, you've pointed out the first point, and you know in your head, this is what you're going to say. Face the audience and look at everyone, talk to everyone. So that is that. And I think we've finished this one for the day. Let me know if you guys want to see more of these lives. If you have questions, we can answer them at the end of these lives. I'm just trying to figure out how to know if someone is in the live. But for now, I've decided this is a good setup because otherwise I would have done it in my office. My boy's there, my door's open, so I can't do it there. Let me know your thoughts. If you'd like to talk about other things, I have so many different posts that I want to get into. So I've pinned this post link and I'll put it in the description also. Have a look. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'll leave it there and I'll see you guys next week, same time, same place. See you then.